When I was about 10 years of age, it must have been about 10 because I was in the fifth grade. And my best friend was in the fourth grade at the time. And we were out on the side of my house playing football, tackle football. We loved it. His name was Donnie. And other neighborhood kids were there too playing. And I don't know what happened, but we got in some kind of a scuffle during the course of playing rough and tumble football. And we stood up and we started to get ready to scrap. We're arguing or something. I don't know how long it went, and I don't know what words were said, and I don't even know. I can't remember that, but believe me, I remember so much more about the rest of that fateful day. So it's a beautiful summer or maybe a fall day. We're playing football, our favorite pastime. A lot of kids in the neighborhood. And me and Donnie, he was in fourth grade and I was in fifth grade. And we just did everything together. He and I and another buddy of ours, his name was Daryl. And I remember elementary school days that fall. I would wake up in the morning and on the way to school, I would stop off at Donnie's right around the corner. He lived right around the corner from me. And Daryl lived right next door to him. Daryl was in my grade, two fifth graders and a fourth grader. And we would play like little basketball in the basement of Donnie's house in the mornings. I remember this cardboard box that we would dribble, and shoot in this cardboard box. This is early in the morning on the way to school. We would just play basketball in his basement. And we'd go to school. Now we both, actually all three of us and all the other kids in the neighborhood, we loved riding bikes. We loved our Stingray bicycles. We loved playing football, whether it was touch football in the street or tackle football in anybody's yard, anyone's yard. And so this particular day we were playing football and I don't know what it was. So we got in some sort of scuffle and we're standing up there facing each other. And we had some older kids, big kids that we all played with too, because our neighborhood was sort of like Bill Cosby and the Cosby Kids. You know that cartoon? It was a collection of different ages and sizes. So it could be from like 8 to 13 or 12. We just did everything, playing hide and go seek, freeze tag, kickball. So this particular day, Donnie and I got in that scuffle, and we standing there face to face with each other. And I remember the older kids edging us on to fight. And when we grew up in our neighborhood, I remember this. You take a stick, you place it on your shoulder, and you knock that stick off. We deemed it as like disrespecting someone's mother. So the older kids, they put a stick on my shoulder and they put a stick on Donnie's shoulder. Donnie went first and he refused to knock it off of my shoulder. He wasn't going to disrespect my mother. And then I went and I knocked it off Donnie's shoulder. Now, Donnie's mother, his birth mother, was unalive. She had died. I never knew her, never saw her. He lived with his aunt around the corner from me and his cousins. That family raised him. I had a mother. He knew my mother. He chose not to knock off the stick on my shoulder. But when it was my turn, I knocked it off his. And I never forget. I mean, we took to fighting and everything, and he bit me on my arm, and I still have a scar. I still have little teeth marks of a little 10-year-old or 9-year-old, however old he was. I think he was 9 and I was 10. I still have the marks, in my muscle. But he won. He won that fight. And I felt terrible afterwards. I really did. And I felt terrible the years afterwards when I grew up to think about it. We were friends. We were best friends. He refused to knock the stick off of my shoulder to disrespect my mom to start the fight. And here I go, and I have to look big, and I knocked it off his. And you know, the interesting thing about it, we still were friends. I mean, that probably went away a day or so after there. We were running around together and playing. But I never forgot it. I never forgot that, how it made me feel about doing that to Donnie. I mean, I remember writing it in my journal years later, contemplating, reflecting, and thinking about it, you know? So yeah, that was something that I learned about friendship. And that was the worst fight I ever been in, because it was something that just didn't need to happen, you know? The older kids were like, yeah, go ahead, Teddy, go ahead, Donnie, knock that stick off his shoulder. And I did it. And it just goes to show you that even at a young age, we know, as humans, we know what's right and wrong. We really do. And we have feelings. And sometimes you can't run away from those memories of those bad feelings that you may inflict on somebody else by hurting them, not in a physical way, in some other kind of way, you know. So I felt that. I don't even remember talking about it, because as we grew older and we went into adulthood and things, we never had that chance to talk about it again. And, you know, as you drift away from friends, I never was able to say, Donnie, I'm sorry about what we did when I was 10 and you were 9. That old scuffle we had playing football on the side of my house. It was a learning lesson, though, I tell you that, a learning lesson about friendship and about karma. And I'll never forget it. So that was the worst and the last fight I've ever been in. Thank God, knock on wood. No physical fights, you know. I be thinking I'm ready, you know, don't try me. But, man. Donnie, wherever you may be at this present moment in time, man, I'm sending you a love and a bear hug and a pound. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. I got a little memory right here. All right. Peace and love, Donnie. Bam!